Assalamu alaikum. This is Pratyusha Burwal. Welcome you all to the English news from BTV Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Record 10,000 crore taka defaulted loans recovered in last 2 quarters. Two senior Catholic leaders called on Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus in Rome, deeply praising his work. Vice Chairman of National Consensus Commission Professor Ali Ria stresses on unity of democratic forces to address deep-rooted crisis Bangladesh facing for a long time. 9 people killed and multiple others injured after a car driven into a crowd at Filipino Street Festival in Vancouver of Canada. And Bangladesh to face off Zimbabwe in second and final test in Chattogram tomorrow. Viewers, those were the headlines. We're moving on to the details. During the fallen Awami League government, the amount of defaulted loans in the country rose to 3,05,000 crore taka, which is nearly one-fifth of the total loans. According to Bangladesh Bank data, as of 31st of December last year, the total loan disbursement across government and private banks stood more than 17 lakh crore taka. The rise in defaulted loans was fueled by issuing loans under fake and proxy names, allowing the defaulters to appear regular without repayment and improper loan classification. After the interim government took over the charge, around 10,000 crore taka of defaulted loans was recovered in last quarter of 2024 and first quarter of 2025. It is the highest amount compared to any previous period. Earlier, during October to December of 2023, the highest recovery was 7,960 crore taka. Bangladesh Bank spokesperson said, before 5th of August last year, banks in an attempt to portray their financial health as better, classified loans improperly and showed defaulters as regular borrowers, thus hiding their actual fragile state. As a result, the volume of bad loans increased. However, strict monitoring by the central bank has ensured proper loan classification and prevented defaulters from being falsely shown as regular borrowers. Besides, in the interest of the survival of banks, bankers are now visiting the homes of defaulters to recover loans. Bangladesh Bank spokesperson also said, whatever the actual figure of the defaulted loans may be, there is now no opportunity to conceal it. The central bank aims to present the real picture of all defaulted loans transparently. Senior Catholic leaders Cardinal Silvano Mario Tomasi and Cardinal George Jacob Kvakert called on the Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus in Rome separately. Both cardinals recalled Pope Francis' lifelong commitment to the poor and the marginalized, efforts to eradicate poverty, and vision for a world free of war and nuclear weapons. They deeply appreciated Professor Yunus's work. They described the Chief Advisor as a close friend of the late Pope Francis. Recalling his long relationship with Pope Francis, Professor Yunus said he was an extraordinary man. Cardinal Tomasi, who recently visited Southeast Asia, discussed geopolitical issues with the Chief Advisor. Both the leaders praised Pope Francis' efforts to call for an end to the conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. Cardinal Tomasi said he hoped the next Pope will maintain the informality of the Pope Francis and encourage dialogue for peace among the countries. Cardinal Kvakert, who is from Indian state of Kerala, announced that the Catholic Church in Bangladesh will organize an interfaith dialogue in September this year, where leaders of different religions will meet together. Professor Yunus stressed on the importance of continued dialogue between people of different religions in Bangladesh. The government's SDG Coordinator Senior Secretary Lamia Morshed, Bangladesh Ambassador to the Vatican Tariq Ariful Islam, and Bangladesh Ambassador to Italy Rokibul Haq were present in the meeting. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus has left Rome for home a day after joining the funeral mass of Pope Francis at St. Peter's Square in Vatican City. He departed from the Leonardo da Vinci Rome Fiumicino airport at around 8 a.m. today. Professor Yunus is expected to return home in the early hours on Monday. Earlier, he flew directly to Rome to pay his last respect to his old friend Pope Francis, wrapping up his 4-day Qatar tour on 25th of April. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus joined the funeral of Pope Francis at Peter's Basilica yesterday. Vice Chairman of the National Consensus Commission, Professor Ali Riaz, has stressed on remaining united of the democratic forces to address the deep-rooted crisis Bangladesh has been facing for a long time. He said this while speaking at a dialogue with Ganashanghoti Andolon today. A 10-member delegation of Ganashanghoti Andolon, led by its chief coordinator Junaid Saki, participated in the talks at the LD Hall of Jatiyo সংসদ Bhavan. Professor Ali Riaz said the collective efforts of people compelled the fascist ruler to flee. It's now essential to uphold the unity and carry forward its spirit. Terming the ongoing dialogue on reforms a step forward, Professor Riaz said they have been able to make progress at least to some extent, but if they fail to uphold and carry forward the progress, all opportunities may slip away. He said they are making collective efforts to build Bangladesh a democratic and accountable state not only for the present generation but also for the future generation. He hoped a national charter can be prepared soon through the consensus of all political parties. The chief coordinator of the Ganashanghoti Andolon, Junaid Saki, said only the issues which are agreed by the partners will be accepted as the July Charter. Those that are not agreed upon will have to be taken to the people. He added Bangladesh will march forward to the democratic transformation through consensus. Consensus Commission members Safar Arvaz Hussain, Dr. Bodiul Alam Mojumdar and Dr. Iftikhar Zaman were present at the discussion moderated by Chief Advisor Special Assistant Monir Haider. International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance IDEA wants the 13th National Parliamentary election to be inclusive in Bangladesh. At the same time, they emphasize the need for a free, fair and neutral election. IDEA's Asia-Pacific Regional Director Lina Rikala Tamang made these remarks today while briefing the journalists after a meeting with Chief Election Commissioner A.M.M. Nasiruddin at the Election Commission building in the capital today. Lina Rikala Tamang said discussions with the Chief Election Commissioner focused on preparations for the upcoming election. She said it is the responsibility of the current commission to hold the election in line with the people's expectations. Lina Rikala Tamang also hoped that through this process, democracy in the country would be re-established. Now, international news. 9 people were killed and multiple others injured in Vancouver after a driver had driven into a crowd at a Filipino street festival in this Western Canadian street on Saturday. The driver has been taken into custody, police said in a post on social media platform X without giving further details. The incident happened shortly after 8 p.m. near East 41st Avenue and Fraser Street, where the Lapu-Lapu Day block party was taking place. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said on X that he was devastated to hear about the horrific events at the Lapu-Lapu Festival in Vancouver earlier this evening. Vancouver's Mayor Ken Sim and British Columbia Premier David Eby posted similar comments on X. Watman told the media that he saw a black vehicle driving erratically in the area of the festival just before the crowd was struck. Jagmeet Singh, leader of Canada's New Democratic Party, was among the attendees at the event but left a minute before the vehicle arrived. Israeli forces intensified attacks across Gaza, killing at least 21 people since dawn. Mediator Qatar said there is some progress in talks aimed at securing new truce between Israel and Hamas. The Palestinian group said it has presented its vision for reaching a comprehensive deal that achieves a ceasefire, prisoner exchange and reconstruction to mediators in the Egyptian capital, Cairo. Aid officials sounded alarm over full-scale famine conditions in Gaza amid Israel's crippling blockade. At least 52,243 Palestinians have been confirmed killed and 1,17,639 wounded in Israel's war on Gaza since it began 18 months ago. The Gaza government media office updated its death toll to more than 61,700, saying thousands of people missing under the rubble are presumed dead. Troops from Pakistan and India exchanged fire in disputed Kashmir for a third night in a row as relations between these two nuclear-armed rivals plunged to their lowest levels in years. India has accused Pakistan of supporting cross-border terrorism after gunmen carried out the worst attack on civilians in contested Muslim-majority Kashmir in a quarter of a century. Islamabad has denied any involvement, calling attempts to link Pakistan to the attack frivolous and vowing to respond to any Indian action. Indian security forces have launched a massive manhunt for those responsible for killing 26 men at a tourist hotspot in Pahalgam on 22nd of April. The Indian military said on Sunday there had been unprovoked firing on small arms initiated by Pakistan along the line of control that separates the two countries. Pakistan has not yet confirmed the latest exchange of fire. Indian police have issued wanted posters for 3 men, 2 Pakistanis and an Indian, who they say are members of the Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba group, an undesignated terrorist organization. India's Federal Home Ministry handed over the attack probe to the National Investigation Agency, which focuses on counter-terrorism. Fires were still blazing on Sunday after a massive explosion tore through Iran's largest commercial port, killing at least 25 people and leaving 800 more injured. The explosion occurred yesterday at Shahid port in southern Iran, more than 1,000 kilometers south of the capital Tehran, near the Strait of Hormuz. A fifth of world oil output passes through this strait. The port's custom office said in a statement carried by state television that the explosion probably had resulted from a fire that broke out at the hazardous and chemical materials storage depot. A regional emergency official said several containers had exploded. A person linked with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said what exploded was sodium perchlorate, a major ingredient in solid fuel for missiles. News agencies said the explosion was so powerful that it was felt and heard about 50 kilometers away. Images from news agency IRNA said Saturday showed rescuers and survivors walking along a wide boulevard carpeted with debris after the blast of Shahid Azai. Now, sports news. Cricket. Bangladesh will take on Zimbabwe in the second and final test tomorrow at Bir Shrishthmoti Rahman Stadium in Chattogram in a bid to avoid a serious sweep at the hands of the visitors for the first time on home soil. The match will at 10 a.m. local time. Bangladesh are highly likely to bring up at least 2 chances to the side, with Enamul Haq Bijoy, who made a comeback to the test fold after 3 years, could replace one opener. Pacer Tanzim Hassan Saqib is likely to make his test debut as Nahid Rana was released to play the Pakistan Super League. Bangladesh stood on the verge of being whitewashed in the series following their 3-wicket defeat in the first test in Sylhet. Having won the game, Zimbabwe leveled with Bangladesh in terms of overall victory in test format.